We recently introduced a new feature to our Blueprint Maker app called Live Blueprints, which we're going to present in this video. To understand how Live Blueprints work, it is essential to understand how regular page and space blueprints work. So we'll start with a little bit of a recap of what Blueprint Maker is and what it does. Blueprint Maker allows users to create complex pages and entire spaces from a template. The template copies metadata, attachments, labels, permissions, children pages, anything you could require. And the real power of Blueprint Maker is that you can place substitution fields in your template, which you will define during the creation of your page or your space. I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a page from a blueprint. All I need to do is access the Blueprints menu item in the Confluence header, pick the blueprint I want to use, the Brikit team member profile page, for example, and then define the fields that are specific to my page, for example, my name, my username, my location, my job title, and anything else that my content managers deem important. You can see here that I can even add images. For example, a background image or a headshot image, but that could be anything else. Then I can decide whether I want to update the current page or create a new page and under which parent page I'd like to create it. And then here I have my profile page, including attachments, and all the substitution fields are replaced with my user data. The metadata from both Confluence and Brikit have been copied from the template, so I have the correct layout and the theme applied already. The process is exactly the same for space blueprints, so I'm not going to show this right now. And to understand how easy it is to create these blueprints, I'm going to head over to the space directory where I can find a space where I store all of my blueprints. I created a space for page blueprints, a space for live blueprints, and then a space for each space blueprint. If I access the page blueprint space, I can see that the underlying page for my employee profile page, which has substitution fields, and I can place those anywhere using the two brackets. And this works in the body text, it works in the page title, it even works in macro parameters. So if I edit this page here, I will see a user info macro, which contains a substitution field for the username. And by the way, if the user info macro can't find a user, it will display the name of the current user, which is why you can keep seeing my name here. The substitution fields can also be used in labels, permission schemes, and even in attachment names. Now, if I wanted to further customize my user profile page, I can add new layers, I can add columns and blocks, I can even remove some elements, and I can do all of that without affecting neither the source page nor any other page created from this blueprint. But what if I wanted to make changes that affect all content created from this blueprint? Let's take a look at the home page of this space blueprint, for example, which we use to create spaces for each new client that we onboard. We mostly use this to surface JIRA tickets, so we just insert substitution fields for the JIRA key and then define the key in the definition phase, which is super handy and saves us from having to go to each JIRA macro and manually inserting the correct JIRA key. Now, if we wanted to change the customer experience and add a new layer to the homepage that has some information about the consultants the client will work with, for example, we would have to go to each client space and insert that space, which is very tedious and can potentially take hours of work. And that's where live blueprints come in. While regular page and space blueprints are a great way to create pages and spaces based on a template, live blueprints are powerful when you want to keep the connection between the template and its pages active. So when you update the blueprint, all pages using the blueprint will adopt the changes. If I edit this page here, you'll notice that I don't have my regular content here, but that the content is coming from a live blueprint. In the macro body, you can see some blueprint definitions. So the substitution field names and what I want to replace them with on this page. And I don't have to tinker around with the macro body. If I wanted to change the substitution fields, I can just edit the blueprint by pressing the X key on my page. So I have to go out of the editor first, press the X key, scroll all the way down until I see the button that says Edit Blueprint, and I can update my definitions in this little pop-up window here. Now, if I wanted to add a new substitution field or new content to the live blueprint, I would navigate over to the space where I decided to store all of my live blueprints, and I would look for the source page, which was New Client Live Dashboard, I believe. Now, if I add new content and new substitution fields here, the changes will propagate to all pages that are using this blueprint. So I'm not actually going to do this right now because this is something that we actively use. Now, whether a template is a page blueprint, a space blueprint, or a live blueprint, it is always defined in the JSON file of the Confluence administration page. If you'd like to learn more about configuring that JSON file, you can head over to our website to look for detailed documentation. It's a bit technical, but definitely manageable and far easier than coding and maintaining your own blueprint plugin. So to summarize, you can decide whether to use regular or live blueprints by asking yourself, 1, do I want to allow users to make changes to the pages or spaces after they were created? And should these changes be limited to that one page or space? Then I want to use a regular blueprint. Or 2, am I frequently making changes to the template that should be propagated to all instances using that template? Then I want to use a live blueprint. We hope this video was useful. Definitely check out our documentation of Blueprint Maker or leave a comment below if you have a question.